Good evening and a warm welcome back from wherever you're watching us from tonight to Crossfire. Time for a discussion this evening. My guests are in studio with me. Today it's house full. I have with me from my extreme left, Honorable the pioneer governor of Kiambu County, William Kabogo. Next to him is Honorable Chris Wamalwa, who's a Kiminini Member of Parliament. We have the bullfighter, the former Senator of Kakamega County, Boni Halwale. And next to me is Moses Kajwang, who's the Homa-based senator. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us here on Crossfire. Your first time. I always like to acknowledge, for those who've not been here before, Honorable Wamalwa and Honorable Kajwang. Karibuni sana. Where have you been, is what the Crossfire family would ask.
We've been around building bridges.
Building bridges
Yes.
that are currently in court.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you know, Kenya is a wonderful country.
Yes.
That someone can go to court and stop a political process that appeared to be unstoppable, and stop a political process that has got the overwhelming support of millions of Kenyans and county assemblies. And I think that that's something positive about this country, that in as much as so many things are going bad, in as much as we still have corruption, we still have poor implementation of government policies, but we still have that basic respect for certain institutions. It is not perfect, it is not pure, but I like what is going on in this country, that a political process can be paused to allow people to go to court. And in court, you know, to the fishermen and to the bullfighters, when they follow the proceedings in court, it's just kizungu mingi. Lawyers speaking kizungu. And I think that is a good sign that if this country got good leadership, we will finally have a country run by the rule of law rather than rule by law.
Rule of law rather than rule by law. And in fact, I want us to start there because as at the top of the bulletin, some of you were here, we're talking about how there's been a flurry of activity from Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister's camp. And this is regarding what he describes as what Raila believes. In fact, some of what he posted, I think it was yesterday if I'm not wrong, is that he believes in the rule of law, efficient judiciary, fighting graft, which is a scourge in this country, stability of the nation, prioritizing public education, transparent and low taxation regime. I wonder if it would then be safe to say, looking at those developments, he's done two interviews earlier today, that this is Raila Odinga launching his bid for 2022, and I'll begin with Honorable Wamalwa on that one.
Yeah, Raila Odinga, as far as the Kenya politics is concerned, of course, history can't be written without him. And many people have saluted him for the fight for democracy in this country. And some of us who have worked with him, we also have our own reservations. I and Halwale, I think, were together in CORD, were together in NASA. There are many things he promised, he never honored. And this was deposited even with the register of political parties. I was surprised, was it yesterday, when he said he's going to Ghana for the presidency in 2022. What I thought he was to...
Has he said that expressly? Because even today when pressed, he said he's yet to announce. However, went on to say he would like the vote of the president and that he has many bullets still.
Why I'm sure he's going to vie is that he said that he'll only support the NASA principles if they go for the nominations that will be maybe supervised by IBC, and him himself, he'll be a candidate as well. If he's beaten, he'll support the others. But if he'll beat the others, he expects to be supported. So by that statement, it clearly shows that 2022 is going to be on the ballot. Right.
Honorable Kabogo, I wonder what you make of still the former Prime Minister appears cagey about just coming out straight and saying, hey, I'm going for this seat.
Sophie, I've never been in the same party with Raila Odinga. But Raila is an enigma. In Kenyan politics, you cannot ignore Raila. More so if Raila just steps up and says, bullfighter tosha. That becomes a whole ball game. So he's a man to watch. Watch carefully. But at the end of this, what is going to happen in 2022 will be two coalitions. One very huge coalition, and one small coalition. This is what is going to happen. I'm not a prophet, neither am I a witch, but I can see.
But why do you think he's cagey? That he'll give all the signs that he's going to run. However, he will not just outright say it.
What I would say is he is a professional politician. He is a serious politician. One of those things that Moi did, and no one would think Moi would lose. You know, when it came to 2002, we all thought Moi had a card. I was part of that process in Kanu. And I knew very well Moi was not going to lose, so Uhuru was going to be president in 2002. But look at it. Moi called Uhuru and said, go and prepare. You've lost. So this time round, expect Raila to do some of those things.
Honorable Halwale.
I haven't spoken to Raila. I do speak to him, but I haven't spoken to him
about
his plan. And I'm not sure he would tell anyone what his plans are.
But he's telling us, it would appear, and just not outrightly saying,
politics is partly deceit.
Perception.
If you're good in politics, you must be able to hide what it is that you're thinking about.
So the likes of, say, Muturi,
like you won't tell what
it
is that I'm after this coming 2022.
I can
tell you there's something up my sleeve.
Okay. Honorable Halwale, when you see all of these developments and this what Raila believes, which he has been pushing that hashtag, it's been trending, he's talking about all of these things he believes the new Kenya should look like. Sounds like a manifesto in the making, do you think?
You are 100% correct. In the prevailing circumstances of COVID-19, what one could only launch his presidential bid virtually. So that was a virtual launch of his bid. Not surprising in any way. The issue you have raised before you invited me to speak as to why he appears cagey, it is deliberate because he does not want to upset the apple cart of the handshake, because the understanding is that handshake was to deliver the country, whatever it is that they believed in, but not for purposes of advancing the political agenda of Raila Odinga. So he wouldn't want to be seen to be upsetting that, that's all. Otherwise, as far as his running is concerned, it is as clear as tomorrow morning the sun will come.
Yeah.
The guy is going to run for president, and I want to agree with the Honorable Kaboko. No, not Honorable, His Excellency, Governor Kabogo, that Raila Odinga is very influential. And because of that influence, if we'll go to the blue corner, whoever goes to the red corner, that will be the contest. And as things stand now, it is now becoming increasingly clear that in the two corners, one corner will be Raila Odinga, the other one will be William Ruto.
Yeah.
That is the contest for 2022. If Kabogo, up your sleeve, you're planning to run for president, then you're planning to lose. You should consider one of those two to be their running mates.
I may run with William Ruto, yes, as the presidential candidate.
Yes.
If I have more clout.
Yes.
I may run with Raila Odinga.
Yes.
Because if you are to inherit Raila Odinga's original constituency, then you have an upper hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This time it's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
You can see it. It's written all over.
Yes.
But what surprises me is the fact that we still are doing rallies when there's COVID-19. The Delta variant is serious.
The fourth wave, yeah.
But you know what? It is the selfishness of us politicians. Most of those people who are doing rallies and campaigns are vaccinated.
All right, let me bring...
And most of the people they are talking to are not vaccinated.
And not vaccinated and not wearing masks.
It's a very sad story.
Senator Kajwang, staying with that, there are those who are looking at this messaging coming out from ODM and Raila Odinga as playing catch-up to the deputy president. He has had a narrative out there, Hustler Nation, bottom-up approach. He has been having his meetings and all of that. And whilst the former prime minister, again, does not explicitly say he'll run, he appears then now with the media interviews earlier today, which we've seen Ruto get into before. Is he fearing that he may be losing ground or perhaps late in the day getting into this?
Well, Sophia, on this debate, there's a part I agree with Senator Kalwale about some of the covenants around the handshake, that it was not supposed to be ideally to prop personal political ambitions. And to a great extent, Raila Odinga has kept his side of the bargain. He has been extremely restrained. Even when it comes to Homa Bay and we provoke him and we tell him this is our time, he tells us to wait until we have a good framework to ensure that the next elections are not going to invite the chaos and the deaths and the mess that we have seen in the past. So to that extent, I agree with Senator Kalwale. Raila has also been very consistent in his messaging. Raila's greatest agenda has been around social justice. And if you look at his manifesto from 1997, and all the years that he has been on the presidential ballot, social justice has been the central theme of his messaging. Of course, every election comes with different challenges. So, for example, in 1997, it was social justice, but the key priority was on opening up of democratic space. In 2002, when he went with Mwai Kibaki, it was social justice, but the focus was on economics. In 2007 and subsequent years, and even in the last manifesto, and three of us were privileged to be part of the team that propped up the NASA manifesto. Social justice was at the center of it. And social justice is not just about constitution making. It's about making sure that there's equity, that economic resources are properly and fairly distributed. It is about ensuring that there's no discrimination of any Kenyan by virtue of tribe or by virtue of race. And if you looked at what was called the 15-point agenda of Raila Odinga, it is just a continuation of that social justice narrative. Of course, the bigger question would be whether some of these high-sounding political ideologies and phrases resonate with the people. Because you see, Sophia, if our people were to vote on the basis of issues and to vote on the basis of good ideas, Kabogo would not be a former governor. And in fact, Boni Kalwale would perhaps be running Kakamega County because they had very very impressive ideas. But at the end of the day, Kenyans resort to the tribe, they resort to familiar faces and familiar names and familiar communities. If it was to happen that you'd have Raila Odinga on one corner and William Ruto in the other corner, I hope that this time round we can have a conversation about ideas. If William Ruto will be talking about is it bottoms up or bottom up? I think bottoms up. And Raila,
bottom, not
bottoms up. And Raila Odinga would be talking about social justice. How I wish that for the first time, Kenyans would go into a national contest that looks at two different ideas of reviving our economy and resetting our nation. And I do hope that Kabogo will join the side that is on social justice rather than the bottoms-up side.
All right, Honorable Wamalwa, to the question still, I will come back to you, that we are now seeing what some have interpreted as a launch of that campaign. Do you see it that way? And if so, is it clear as to how Honorable Kajwang is describing it, that Raila stands for social justice? Or is it, did you see that statement as verbose, very many issues?
All the presidential aspirants, if you ask me, they stand for social justice. As a matter of fact, when you look at the philosophical orientation of their parties, political parties, it is social democracy. So Raila Odinga doesn't come out uniquely. Even William Ruto, talk of Musalia Mudavadi, talk of Kalonzo Musyoka, all of them are social democrats. But Raila Odinga is a very calculative politician and very strategic. Remember, he said he has only one bullet. And when you've remained with one bullet,
He
really
did
want
say that.
Sometimes,
in
but
fact,
that's what he said.
He said that is the creation of the media. He said, I have a magazine full of bullets, my friend.
Oh, maybe they've been innovated. But what I know, in the last elections, in 2017, where I was with Boni Kalwale, he said it clearly, he has only one bullet. Let's give him an opportunity to fire.
Okay.
He was given the bullet, he fired, but maybe he has, in an innovative way, he has now come up with
this
more
magazine.
bullets.
Yes.
And Raila Odinga, when you look at this political career in terms of the growth cycle, when it reaches the peak, when it's almost to decline, if you're aware of the product life cycle model, he metamorphosizes and bring it back to growth. So he's one politician who is very calculative. For instance, this handshake. Many people had dismissed Raila Amolo Odinga. How he worked out and went through the handshake. And I heard him saying today he doesn't expect His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to endorse him. But that is ironical, because I know he's been looking for the support from His Excellency the President, and we speak right now. He enjoys a lot of benefits from the government. But some of us were with him in CODE, were together in NASA, and I saw the headline saying he doesn't owe the NASA partners anything.
Yeah.
Some of us were with him, he owes the other partners, because he actually promised, committed,
but it did
that
not...
he's going to support the other candidates.
If they won, which they didn't win, is the argument from Raila and ODM that the target and agenda was not met. So the same is anality.
Sophia, in a game of football, we have a penalty, and everyone wants to score.
Yes.
But at times, not the best player can score, will score out, okay? So this is an opportunity whereby you can even get other players to be the ones to take the penalty. I heard him say that we're going to work together as NASA, and some of us who are in NASA, we have so much to discuss with Raila Amolo Odinga on the issues of political parties fund. So there is this thing of honesty. I know in politics we didn't write an agreement, but it was a gentleman agreement that come 2022.
Okay.
He should be able to support Kalonzo, Wetangula, or Musalia Mudavadi. It is his time to pay back.
And the question would be, why do you need his support if you're...
We also supported him. We also supported him. Yes, we supported him.
All right, let me bring Honorable
Sophie,
yes.
Political agreements before elections are never fulfilled. Never, not in this Africa. From an outsider's perspective, if you look at Raila, if using Kabogo's eyes, I see two Railas. Raila the kingmaker and Raila the candidate. If Raila was to be a kingmaker in this coming elections, be assured 100% whoever he says Tosha will become president. That is certain. I do not know what will happen with Raila the candidate. Depends on how many, who he's forming a coalition with. But like I said before, you cannot ignore him. A man who puts together 5 to 6 million votes is not a joke.
And when
you ignore him at your own peril.
At your own peril. But when he says, I don't need Uhuru's endorsement, then goes on ahead to say, I would want him to vote for me. So in essence...
You know, a clever man like he is, he chooses what words to use. He has a reason why he says, I do not want that endorsement.
Because it comes with its own baggage.
If you ask him, do you want Kabago on your side? What do you think he'll say?
State machinery, you think, is what he means by this?
Not really. He has always done what he has done without that machinery. Always.
His brother has said that's what they have always lacked.
His brother is not Raila.
But
Raila
he has insights
Raila.
on Raila.
Remember, Raila is junior, but he's still Raila.
Okay. Honorable Halwale, your thoughts on this, picking from what Honorable Amalo was talking about. The NASA principles have constantly said, the other three, that is Wetangula, you have Kalonzo and Mudavadi, that it is time for Raila to pay back, that there was that agreement, the coalition agreement, in fact, was that you go for it 2017, the next election, a different person. But doesn't he have a valid point as to the extent that he's not president today, so they didn't achieve, so he doesn't then owe support. They still need to pursue his victory.
You know, it's amazing that the person saying that is Chris. The one thing we share on this panel is we are privileged to have a good education. You cannot want to be a president of the Republic of Kenya when your strategy is that somebody will lift you and make you the president. The theory of endorsement is a confirmation that the person who is looking for endorsement is a weakling. If the party leader of Fort Kenya is strong enough, why should he, in every funeral I've heard him speak in Western Province, he's always telling Raila, you owe me. He embarrasses those of us who have worked with him and who believe he's as good as he is. the issue of endorsement should not be sought.
Maybe Khalwala needs to understand the context. There's a difference between endorsement and support.
It's my airtime.
I said support, not endorsement. The two are totally different.
Well,
calm down.
Little line.
I'll say even harder things going forward. So the issue of endorsement, when you're enjoying it, you should not enjoy it as a right. You should enjoy it in the manner that Kibaki enjoyed it. Kibaki was endorsed by Raila, Ngilu, and Wamalwa. But he did not walk in town saying
you owe me.
That you owe me. So we know that at some stage, President Uhuru will say, Raila or whoever is the person that he'll be supporting. That person should not make us tired by reminding us that they deserve that particular endorsement. Allow me to discount.
Quick rebuttal on that one,
yes.
On Honorable Ruto. Because whilst he has said that he's not owed debt.
Yes.
Kumi yangu, kumi yako.
Yes, yes.
You saw how he reacted when there was a headline suggesting that the president would back a NASA chief. Yes. I mean, he went Kalenjin on us, Kikuyu on us. Exactly. You know, on social media saying, Yani, kumera are just going to suffer like that. Isn't that also an expectation from him at that point?
I'll tell you something. One, my name is Boni Khalwale.
Correct.
I'm not William Ruto.
I just wonder what you make of that, though.
But what I make from it is that that was an intelligent way of seizing an opportunity to swing the former Jubilee leaders and the former Jubilee voters on his side. In politics, there is something called the sympathy vote. He was actually consolidating the sympathy vote. He was not crying that the president should...
Maybe that's what they're also doing then.
Absolutely, we're not crying.
They want the sympathy vote also.
Yeah. If that's what they're looking for, they'll say it. Don't let them ride on what I'm saying. Okay. But importantly, on that particular point, I look at three strong presidential candidates in this country today. Not candidates, would-be presidential candidates. William Ruto, Raila Odinga, and Musalia Mudavadi.
All right.
So if it's a question of being odd, the very fact that it is those three who are the leading presidential candidates, it makes it impossible almost for President Uhuru to pay back, because Mudavadi will claim entitlement. 2002, he sacrificed his career for Uhuru. Honorable Raila Odinga will claim entitlement. You have seen what he has done in the handshake for Uhuru. William Ruto will also claim the same because of how they moved together in 2013 and 2017.
Right.
So should that be the reason that will drive President Uhuru, then Kenyans should expect that on this particular score of endorsement, President Uhuru is going to be neutral. Because all of them, he owes them. Finally, allow me to discount what my younger brother, Kajwang is saying. Kajwang, you know, you have good university education. And therefore, when you speak to the public, especially the majority of viewers now who don't understand these things, you have to be honest. When you say Raila Odinga he believes in social justice, are you telling me that Raila believes in social justice?
Definitely.
Knowing that social justice means when you are distributing opportunities, we are distributing wealth, we are distributing privileges, you exercise equal distribution of those three assets, wealth, opportunity, and privilege. Raila has never, for the last time he was prime minister, and this time he has been in coalition, not coalition, in the handshake government, he has never demonstrated social justice. May I explain? When he was prime minister, he was so sensitive on social justice that goes with privilege that he almost killed people because he wanted a carpet, he wanted a mobile toilet, he wanted all this, he wanted outriders and what have you. All those trappings that come excessive, that come with position in African heads of government is because they don't understand social justice. Okay. If you go to Finland and you go to Denmark, you go to Canada, where they practice, I really want to finish this point, it is important.
Please land.
Where they practice social justice, the issue of privilege is treated so carefully that you cannot find the prime minister in that country with this opulence that we see here. Okay. Finally, this is a very important thing. He's misleading our youth. If Raila was believing in social justice, he would not be lauding every opportunity that he gets. He either gives a member of his community or he gives a member of his family in government. That kind of person does not believe in social justice.
All right.
And I can give you examples.
Point made and examples given. And rebuttal.
You see, Raila in his political career is been more in the trenches than in executive positions and roles. And I would assume that they don't teach social justice in medical school because it's not just about trappings and carpets. When Raila was prime minister, it was a time we had the National Social and Economic Council, which the Jubilee government, ignored. And it is a National Social and Economic Council that came up with Vision 2030. We had a very good planning framework. And that's how the bath that was opened in Lamu the other day by the president was an offshoot of that grand plan. Now, if you're talking about distribution of resources and distribution of opportunities, how else do you demonstrate it? By opening up northern Kenya, by ensuring that Isiolo becomes a resort city, by ensuring that areas that the British had condemned as northern frontier district, which was home for shifters, is opened up. If you go to Konza, where I saw the Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka inspecting the other day, all these were offshoots of the National Economic and Social Council and the Vision 2030. But I mean, we share a lot with Boni Khalwale because we're in the Senate together, and he was chair of PAC, and I succeeded him as chair of PAC. Right. So there are things I take in good spirit when he says them. The politics of endorsement is very dangerous politics. Sophia, I was endorsed when my brother Otieno Kajwang died. Raila went and lifted my hands and said that elect this guy. I had a lot of trouble. Boni Khalwale, Chris, these guys came to campaign for me. I don't know whether you were hit by stones, but it was heated. Because the minute the boss endorses somebody, it creates so many unhappy people. Okay. Because there were 10, 20 people who expected to fill in those shoes, and they were senior politicians. What happened to Uhuru Kenyatta in 2002? Moi had the system. In fact, Moi had the grip of the system more than Uhuru Kenyatta has it today. Those days, Moi had power undiluted. And yet, with an endorsement, Uhuru Kenyatta could not even win Gatundu. I don't know whether he got his parliamentary. He got Gatundu. Yes. But in his first attempt, he failed. So the politics, dangerous. It is dangerous in our politics, and I don't think it depends. I don't think Raila is hoping to be taken to Nyeri, and then Uhuru says that nitaachia Raila. Because there'll be so many people, Kabogo is here, and so many other people who think that they are fit to become president of the Republic of Kenya. And people are only satisfied when it is through a process that they feel that they put their best feet forward. But finally, on the issue of NASA, NASA should not disintegrate on account of political parties' fund. When I joined the Senate, I found Senator Khalwale. I don't know whether you are the sponsor of that amendment, because I remember we had a lot of debate on the Political Parties Act, especially the part on the political parties fund.
He sponsored the one bill and also sponsored
Yes, and Senator Khalwale, I remember you canvassed so that we could change the threshold. I'm not sure whether it was assented to. But the provisions of the Political Parties Act, there's the issue of the Political Parties Fund, but then there's an issue that Chris is talking about, an MOU that was agreed upon. You see, the NASA guys, and that's why NASA, I think, packed a punch. Personally, as a member of ODM, I would like those gentlemen to still come together. Because in that team, you had 2 former vice presidents. You had 2 former ministers of foreign affairs. You had a former minister of finance. Someone like Moses Wetangula, you would argue that in the Senate, he is a one-man army. And you'd argue that in the National Assembly, Chris and his team of Ford Kenya is quite lonely. But Moses Wetangula is a serious brain trust. This is a man who has been Minister of Foreign Affairs, who has been in that office when Kenya was in serious problems with neighbors and on the international space. So I think everyone brings in something.
So
it does not have to be the vote.
The promise made in that coalition agreement that is still alive today, that Raila Odinga would support one of the other three. It is the agreement.
If Raila became president, Raila has not become the president. But I think we will be pedantic.
To the point that maybe it is the problem is the candidate. That because if you had a different candidate, maybe you'd win going
Sophia, if, for example, we said that tomorrow Raila endorses and says that Moses Wetangula, you shall be our presidential candidate, is Raila's vote block, starting with Nyanza and looking at coast, where he has gotten almost 100%, is it transferable? Is that loyalty and support transferable to another person? 100%. Kibaki Tosha was a critical juncture in the history of this republic. Right. It is different from this particular moment.
You know the story of endorsements? I'll tell people who have experience like I do, please do not look for endorsement. That endorsement will take you home quickly.
Honorable we need to differentiate.
Let me say this. Okay. The situation in 2002, the Kibaki Tosha situation, is not like what is happening today. If you ask Uhuru Kenyatta, the president today, would he have wished to have been endorsed by Moi? He would say no.
Yeah.
Because it's probably because of Moi's endorsement that Uhuru did not make it in 2002. If Moses Wetangula is endorsed today by anyone, I can tell you he's not going to go anywhere. And again, the issue of transferability of votes. The entire block of Raila Odinga will not follow one person because Raila said so.
But isn't there a valid point that there was a promise given, that there was an agreement?
That's what we are saying, Sophie. Yeah. These promises mean nothing for the future. They mean something that day for putting them together to work together. Promises will be broken. Even those that will be made in 2022.
Politicians are a bunch of
politicians, yes. I'm telling you,
it's what all of us.
And the only thing, and that's why I always say, it's important to differentiate between a politician and a leader. Leaders don't make those promises. Only politicians. People who just think about the next general election.
All right.
Those who think about the next generation do not make those promises.
You're looking to differentiate what and what?
Ask me today. If I want to be president 2022, do I need Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsement? I'll tell you no. For my own good reasons.
There's a difference.
Because I am a leader and I know where to pass.
Yeah, and I'm seeing you guys have been cooking a few things from Mount Kenya.
Well, we want to be united as Mount Kenya, so that when we speak with one voice. All politics in this republic is local.
You already have one of your own, has declared two actually.
Again, we have politicians who declare in Nairobi, boardroom presidents. Then we have Boni Halwale, the Kaboko type, that goes to the village.
To the village.
That goes to the village.
You wanted to make a
I want Kaboko to know there's a difference between support and endorsement. In a coalition, you are one among equals. It's like you're playing together in a game of football.
Yes.
And you agree, I'm going to pass this ball to somebody in a competitive position who will be able to score. You're appearing among equals. And some of us who have been in NASA, my brother here with him in NASA, we came up with so many models, permutations and combinations, because we were forming the coalition for purposes of winning. But we didn't win. Why? Maybe the candidate who was scoring was the problem. But here we are saying, we were all together. We campaigned for Raila in our areas of jurisdiction, but he was the flag bearer. So the issue is this. 2013, 2017, the same flag bearer you are failing. So can we have an opportunity of changing? In my community where I come from, when you try to get a baby and all is in vain, you change the position.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And the issue is this. We've been going for the general elections with Raila Odinga as the flag bearer. In 2013, we failed. In 2017, we failed. Can we now change? because you're among the equals. And when it comes to coalitions, Kabogo, we've been in different coalitions.
Yes.
And in this coalition, we agreed. It's an issue of trust. We agreed, gentlemen, let's come together. We'll share the positions.
But you've had
and we'll share the political parties fund, which is deposited at the register of political parties. Honorable Kajwang here says that NASA, we should work together. Some 2 years ago, ODM were all of us saying NASA is dead. But when it's convenient for them, because their party leader wants the support again, they say, no, we should revive NASA. This is selfish. It is total selfish. In politics, there must be trust. There must be honesty. I was on the table of the management board where he was coming up with the 2 candidates. It was very, very difficult. We tried all sorts of permutations and combinations. Then we said, okay, let Raila be there. Even under code. Raila was the flag bearer, and he promised to support another partner. So anyway, politics about interest. We have no problem. Let him come to board.
You're saying 2 things here.
Sophie, what I was trying to say.
You're talking about interest, and then you talk about honesty, and we've just had politicians are the biggest.
I don't think so. That is a virtue.
Actually,
in life,
the Honorable
not just for
Malwa
politicians.
tried to inform me on the issue
briefly,
of,
before I come to
amongst equals.
Yes.
And I said, for example, if you put Kabogo as number 7 to play for England, and you just put me near the goal, I may never be able to put the ball.
You think so?
Never. Because that's not what I do. Those amongst equals, there are some amongst them, if you attempt to push them, they will go nowhere.
And let me take that point forward
what I'm saying?
With Honorable Halwani.
Let me expound on this.
Yes.
It is never amongst equals. Even when we form a coalition, we know who in the coalition is carrying what sort of percentage in terms of ground support. It is never equal. One may just jump out and it means nothing to the coalition.
Maybe I should justify that. Give me an opportunity to justify that.
To that point, let me then put this straight. You had the president visit the Nyanza region. When he went there, his host, unequivocally undisputed, was Raila Odinga, correct?
Right.
Yes.
The president was earlier supposed to go to Ukambani.
Yes.
Postponed. Tomorrow he's now set to go. The issue here being the rumbles coming from the governors that, Honorable Kalonzo will be taking credit for the work they've been doing. So eventually another State House invite for all the leaders has led to this visit. So then does the Honorable Kabogo make a point that these are not equals? They cannot claim the same stake at the table, because when it comes down to it, when the chips are down, tunajua nani ni nani.
Okay. To an extent, yes.
Okay.
To an extent, yes. But when you work together as a team, it depends with who is going to be the flag bearer. If the flag bearer is friendly across the board, there's some less risk. Okay? It's just like when you're playing a game of football. If you are the star, you seem to be marked heavily. Okay? And someone somewhere who is not heavily marked, you give that person the ball,
and they may score.
He's likely to score.
All right, let me
so what I'm putting across is this. We are playing as a team,
yes,
and Raila Odinga seems to be heavily marked.
So he needs to
give an opportunity to Wetangula, or Mudavadi, or Kalonzo, they may score.
All right.
We've tried him twice, and we have failed.
Honorable Halwala, your thoughts on what you're hearing tonight?
I think we should close this matter. My brother has resorted to community culture to make his point, but you have given the wrong example. The right example is this. In our culture, when the sister of your father, dowry is paid, one cow is reserved to calve down so that each of her nephews would get a calf each. So the first person to get is the firstborn. To get the first calf. So, Amalu, as you know, if the cow is pregnant and the first calf is marked for the firstborn, and then it miscarries, you then don't tell the firstborn that yours was miscarried and therefore you are through. You let it get pregnant again, then he's given his rightful share before you come to the secondborn. So in this case, the 2017 election was like the cow aborted. So Raila got nothing. So when you tell him that he got his chance, he should give the other
That is culture.
You are being deceitful.
That is culture.
Hold on.
Can you hold him?
Yes,
I want my thoughts to flow. Yeah? This is very important, that if you must apply culture in the proper perspective. You are expecting too much of Raila Odinga. Second point, on this issue of the sharing of the goodies after 2017. You people are being unfair. ODM has given you an opportunity. You have been a deputy chief whip. Courtesy to that coalition agreement, and we put it there. You've gotten those positions, you've enjoyed them. You don't go back home and tell people that Raila gave you those positions. Now, let's come to the important point raised by Wanona and Kapugo, that in a political arrangement, it is never a question of equals. Let me give you an example. Raila was never equal to Wetangula and Mudavadi and Kalonzo. And scientifically, you can prove. All the NASA consent parties fielded candidates. Raila came out with 67 members of parliament. Okay. Fort Kenya came out with 11.
I want to move this forward.
Came out with 12. So how are they equal?
No, let me take this forward.
Finally,
yes.
When Mudavadi fielded for governor, even in his home county of Vihiga, Raila defeated him. The governor of Vihiga is ODM or Tichilo. Raila was never equal to Mudavadi.
Point made. I want to ask this as we move this
never
forward.
Equal to it.
We have heard a lot about...
Never equal to Kalonzo.
Honorable Halwale, as I bring it also to Honorable Kajwang, we have heard about, because what you allude to is betrayal, and
Absolutely.
that word was given a nod. However, to bring it to the president and his deputy, where both have pointed an accusing finger at each other on betrayal. The president at Bomas saying the DP started running backwards to take the baton in a relay. Yeah. In an interview with him 2 weeks ago, he said, no, it's the president who was risking handing over the baton to a player or an athlete from the opposing team. So from where you sit, who then committed the original sin because of all this betrayal speaking, with all this back and forth as I come?
Back to Bomas and the baton. When the president used that example, he confirmed to me quickly that he had never been an athlete. When you are on a relay, when you are running relay, as you come to hand over the baton, the guy who you're going to give starts coming back so that you give him quickly.
No, you go forward.
You go forward.
Has been an athlete where?
You throw your hand back, going back, you want to take it quickly so as to take off, because the rules are, if you keep on going back and in the process you have a longer distance to run, you're going to lose your energy in the process. But if the guy who wants to take the baton knows that he's a better runner, he'll come for it. I did it many times and I won many races.
I don't know which ones those were.
I think, Bonnie, what's happening here?
Hold on, Governor, before I come to Tafadhali.
It switched it the other way around.
Yes,
exactly.
The relay does not go back.
No, you don't understand.
Listen, Bonnie. What happens is, as he comes closer to
you ever been
you start running a little bit ahead, so he catches up with you.
What happens, Look, let me tell you, as a practitioner of sports, when you're taking the baton from your teammate who is coming, when you realize that the other guy has arrived and is given, the other guy is gone, and your man is slow,
you go
the
back?
rules allow you, the rules allow you
really?
Yes.
Okay.
So that you can shoot at any, but may I make my point?
Bullfighting.
May I make my point?
Yes, briefly to come to Honorable Kajwang.
The important question you asked was who made the first sin?
Yes, who betrayed who first?
There's no such a thing. There's never
They're both claiming.
They have never been. William Ruto has never, ever blamed Uhuru.
Well, he said Uhuru was about, he said it, interview, KTN News, 2 weeks ago. Uhuru was about to give the baton to the opponent. So that is to say,
yes,
he was getting it wrong. The president was getting it wrong on how this thing is supposed to work.
On that one, he was not complaining. He was just setting the record clear that when you are in the red jersey, you give the baton to the player in a red jersey. You don't give the one in the orange jersey. That's what he meant. Now, the point is this. William Ruto has never complained about the president. It is you, the media, who keep on saying that William Ruto is complaining, Kinakabogo say he does not respect the president. The truth is, the only mistake William Ruto made was that he said, I want to be president. And because in the scheme of things of President Uhuru, he didn't want Ruto to become president, he wanted to use his incumbency to pay back to the Moi family for what they did for him. He felt slighted that Ruto was asking for the president. Right. He had hoped that he would shut him down so that then he passes over to Gideon Moi. That's where the problem was.
That's where the problem was, according to you.
See, on matters running, I would...
and I'm an athlete, you should be asking.
I would hear Senator Kalole. The last time I saw him running away with a jerry can full of water. Away from cops.
I do many things.
No, that one was, I think, what we call the discus, the stone throwing bit.
I do many things.
So he's a serious athlete. But really, if you look at it carefully, the fallout between the president and his deputy has been to the advantage of the deputy. Correct. Because, number one, if the two were in good books and they were all cozy, the deputy would be guilty of all the sins of the government. And this government has many sins. Some are errors of commission and others are of omission. The COVID pandemic came at a time when things were already looking bad for our economy. Right. Our economy is on its knees. And Kenyans are going to blame the government of the day for the state of the economy. Kenyans are going to blame the government of the day on issues to do with vaccination, issues to do with COVID measures. And I think, and that's why I'm saying it is to the advantage of the DP, because it's trying to keep a distance away from those failures. But of course, it's not working perfectly, but it's giving him a fighting chance, some sympathy. Secondly, there is the fatigue that Kenyans have about the rotation of the presidency and going to specific regions of this country. From independence, Jomo Kenyatta, then Daniel Arap Moi, then Mwai Kibaki, then Uhuru Kenyatta, then back to William Ruto. It was going to be very difficult for Uhuru Kenyatta to say that mimi nimemaliza yangu 10, sasa nimeachia William Ruto from the Kalenjin community the other. It was going to be 42 against 2 or 42 against 1. And if the NASA coalition and the opposition would have remained as united as it was as at the last election, reflect on this, Sophia. With about 19 million registered voters, only 7 million showed up to vote in the second round. It means there were 12 million Kenyans who either didn't feel like voting because Raila was not there and NASA were not on the ballot. If the opposition would have remained that cohesive and united, and the president and the deputy were still cozy in their white shirts and red ties, the opposition was going to defeat that combination at 8 in the morning. So in my view, by the deputy president bolting out, he's trying to up his chances, trying to run away from the failures of the Jubilee administration, some caused by COVID, some caused by corruption, or by people who are around him even right now, people he's bolted out with. And I think he should not complain too much, because if he was to be the man to be endorsed, and Kabogo has told us how endorsements are also dangerous, I think the seat, the presidency, was going to automatically go to the opposition. As things stand now, people are still saying that, okay, Ruto stands a very good chance of being president because of the narrative and the approach he has taken, and the distance he has kept away from President Uhuru, and the distance he has kept away from the stink coming from the Jubilee administration. So he should thank his stars for that. But I still think that...
Who betrayed who first, do you think? I'm still at that. Do you think that it's the president? The president has said he put his ambition to succeed his boss ahead of the agenda. He's arguing the president decided to bring another person in this union.
Sophia, you know, for Ruto, it should not matter as long as things are working out for him. It's like a lady who's married to a fairly poor man, perhaps I am, and then I divorce her, and then she finds a better suitor. She should not complain that someone...
You know, Sophie, there's one myth here we need to deal with.
Right.
We keep talking about the disagreements between the president and his deputy. We keep imagining what these things are. They're the only people who can tell us.
They have told us.
The only thing they have said is just what you said. If you remember Bomas was not about the relay only. The president didn't say from the podium, you know, I don't understand what is this, because even these people we selected, William brought his, I brought mine, see who you are. I don't know whether you remember. Before
yes, and
the
he says,
thing, as Senator Kajwang has said, it may be working to his advantage, William Ruto, seeming to bolt out. But what you're saying is he seems to be out. He's not out. The failures of this government, he is in it as the deputy president. The successes of this government, all those roads, all those things, he is in it. Let's not try and separate them. They are together as the Jubilee government until just a few days when we realized that now he's not in Jubilee, he's in UDA. And they said from 6 months to the elections is when everyone will leave. So at some point they will carry the cross of the ills of this government and the successes they will enjoy jointly as they did when they were wearing white shirts and red ties. But that does not mean that people break relationships. In politics more so, every other election causes friction, separations, and new marriages. This is not going to be different. It is going to be the same.
All right.
But the players are not only William Ruto, Raila Odinga, and this time Uhuru Kenyatta will not be, unless we change the Katiba. There's something else that Senator Kajwang has said, that the seat goes to the same regions. Unless we change the Katiba, this will continue happening. You cannot stop me as a Kikuyu to vie for presidency because Uhuru Kenyatta is a Kikuyu.
But how will changing the Katiba stop?
I'm saying unless we do. The Katiba is simple. You have the qualifications of being a president.
Gotcha,
it is a majority.
Right.
50+1 or second round, simple majority.
All right.
That is what it is.
All right. You had a point.
With Kabogo. In the first term of the Jubilee government, William Ruto was very powerful. And most of the time, the president delegated everything. I remember even there was a time he left the instruments of power to William Ruto. Remember that?
Yes.
Most of the government appointments, William Ruto's hand was in it. But the president was very clever. He was doing that because he was in the second term.
I want to work on your microphone. I understand it's a little bit faulty, so in a moment somebody will come work on that. Let me come to Honorable Halwale, because...
When you mention Kabogo, that happens.
Let's fix your mic, because we're also bringing this to a close in a few minutes. But there is a by-election also in Kiambaa. Yeah. And this fallout appears to be heading to its next test run to see who will emerge victorious. Yeah. Will it be the president consolidating his backyard, or will it be another really whitewash, you know, UDA coming to show Jubilee we are here and we are not playing? I saw the statement from UDA the other day about some of the issues ongoing on the ground. What is the ground saying? What's happening down there?
We are running a very good campaign in Kiambaa. We have created teams. Teams are there at different times. We have been doing weekly opinion polls, and we are comfortable that we are driving the vehicle to victory in Kiambaa. The perception that the outcome of Kiambaa will speak to, in quotes, fallout between the president and his
or a litmus test of sorts.
It's okay now?
It's not correct.
Okay.
What is correct is that the Deputy President is preparing for 2022. And for him to demonstrate to the country that he's serious, the vehicle he's going to use for 2022 should be seen to be participating in by-elections if they come, and should hopefully win those by-elections. So it is not a confirmation of the fallout. And if you ask me...
I think the fallout, it's not about giving confirmation.
Yes,
it's more of a litmus test.
If you ask me,
yes.
I would rather I differ with His Excellency the Governor and Senator. Ruto has not bolded from government. Ruto is the Deputy President.
You're confirming my position.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ruto is the Deputy Party Leader of Jubilee.
Correct.
So he's still where he was. The only difference is that Ruto held a different opinion on BBI from the President. And number two, Ruto announced his presidential bid against the expectations of the President. Now, to expect him to change his position on BBI when his position is shared by many other Kenyans would be expecting too much from the man.
All right, I think your mic is now good. You were making a point.
Yeah, Sophia, what I was saying is the first term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the relationship between the president and the deputy was so cordial. You remember even the type of shirts, ties they were putting together?
Bromance, it's
We
called.
don't see it anymore. And Kabogo, you can't come here and claim a deputy president is still enjoying whatever he was enjoying at that time.
Never said
He
so.
has been on record. And that's why I say
Never said so.
they cannot share the benefits together. They cannot share the spoils together. For instance, the deputy president the other day said...
he is still deputy president of the Republic of
Absolutely, absolutely. But when it comes to running the government, right now, the deputy president has been isolated. He has been on record. The other day he said, the problems we are facing in this government is because of the handshake. When the handshake came with Kemsa billionaires, and the ills of the Jubilee government, the deputy president is exonerated now. He's not part and parcel of the inner circle.
Hallelujah.
That is something that you have to know. He's now crying outside, and he was part and parcel of the fight for this government.
Right.
When you look at 48 laws of power,
yes,
the issue of supremacy, maybe the deputy president, the advisors of the president were like, the deputy doesn't respect you. The president wanted to be in charge, okay? But the deputy president, when he showed his ambition, maybe, I don't think I'll trust what Khalwale said, that he wants to hand over power to the Moi family. That is your assumption. It is not written anywhere. But as far as my... Are you accessible to intelligence? Who gives you the intelligence information?
Intelligent.
Yeah.
Intelligent.
Not really. I don't think so. I don't think so. President Uhuru Kenyatta knows that the next president of this country will be decided by the Kenyans. Even him, he knows. When Moi tried to bring him up, Kenyans rejected him. So he's not stupid.
Right.
So you can't come and tell us here that he wants to hand over to the Mois. And the deputy president knows it very well. Right now, as we speak, we are going to have a lot of alignments and realignments.
Correct. I want to give the last word because our time is up. We're at 11 to Honorable Moses Kajwang. To the point Honorable Wamalwa makes that at the end of the day, when you're talking about the alignments, of course, and realignments we'll be seeing, at some point, the deputy president managed to delink himself with the failures of this government and boogeyman and put them on the former prime minister, who then started castigating and calling out and mentioning the failures of government just to create that distance because of the handshake, being put in a very awkward position. Perhaps speak to that as we bring this to a close.
You see, the strategy, the narrative, I guess it's, there's some cleverness in it, and I do believe that there are some foreign consultants who have been brought in to ensure that the messaging is one that can appeal to a specific segment of the population. But so, whereas the narrative would be good, the reality could be different. As I said, if it was all about a wonderful narrative, some of the people I respect a lot will not be outside Parliament, and some of them will not be out of their gubernatorial offices, people like Mheshimiwa Kabogo here. We need to dismantle the foundation that we've used in this country for building politics. It has been built on personalities, such that the concern Chris has is that Raila has reneged, in quotes, allegedly reneged, on a promise he made to other individuals. And the concern in Jubilee is an allegation that Uhuru has reneged on a promise he made to Ruto. Yes. Where are Kenyans in that conversation? And that is why part of the thinking around BBI was to ensure that you had a government that was structured in such a way that if you're in government, you've got a clear mandate. If you're outside government, you also have a clear mandate of checking the government and making sure that you've got a shadow cabinet and you are useful in the progress of the nation. I hope that in this coming election, we will find a formula and there'll be some magic to ensure that our politics is not just about personalities and individuals who sit on the high table, that it becomes one of the common man. And finally, you know, we all agree on the problems that Kenya faces. In fact, we all agree on what needs to be done because all that has been written down. Right. The only thing we don't agree on is who can do the job, who's going to bail the cat. And personally, I think that Raila Odinga, owing to his experience and owing to what he has gone through and owing to the youth support base that he has in this country, that for me, Raila Odinga remains the best person to bail the cat because, as we said earlier on, and I think Chris said that all these candidates, they have social justice at heart. Even the bottoms-up economy model, it's about
semantics. It's the same thing that has been happening right now, empowering the youth.
The issue is who will deliver the goods. And if we get it right, then perhaps Kenya will fly. Just the same way we are talking of Samia Suluhu in Tanzania, yes. Magufuli, Samia. We are saying that Tanzania is on the verge of becoming a great nation. We said the same thing of Abiy in Ethiopia until the Tigray rebellion came up and even won a Nobel Peace Prize over issues to a discussion with Eritrea. I think Kenya is also at that critical juncture that if we got the right leader, Kenya will take off.
I think it's also important,
in under a minute,
it's just one right down on top of what he has just said. Yes. It's also important, Senator Kajwang, to understand that even it could be you and Raila stands behind you with all his wisdom. So it doesn't have to be he himself. Yeah. It could be a team that takes Kenya to the next level. You did mention about Kiambaa. Kiambaa is not a test between who is popular, between, I don't know, Jubilee, UDA. This is Jubilee themselves.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, UDA, let me finish. UDA is Jubilee, yes, because the leader of UDA, who happens to be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Jubilee, hang on, Jubilee is them. It is also KANU, because these are the children of KANU. What I'm saying. So what I'm saying, they may be voting one way or the other in Kiambaa, yes, because those are the options available. If there is a middle option available, you will see something new. So let's not just look at Kiambaa as a litmus test for who is popular between I don't know who and who. I have not been to Kiambaa. And if you ignore Kabago in Kiambu and central politics, then you must know that you do not know what's going on.
Oh, really?
So let's leave this thing, let it happen. It will go and it will pass.
Okay.
But we are headed to 2022. Where things will matter, things will be different.
And Kaboko, you know what I've seen on the ground? Yes. I've been campaigning in Kiambaa.
We need to wrap up. 5 seconds.
Yeah, just wrapping. I've been campaigning on the ground. The two names I hear of local leaders is Moses Kuria and Kaboko.
Oh, okay.
Sophia,
was that the one?
Sophia, wouldn't you worry? Wouldn't we all worry that where you have a governor in a county with all the mechanisms up to village elders, that his preferred candidates would still be defeated.
There are two ways of looking at it.
And if you have a
gentlemen,
so it tells me there could be a 2022 local politics.
Let me tell you what happened.
All right. Can we have that as we walk out of studio?
Let me finish this. It's party politics. Vyama vina wenyewe. That is why.
May the best candidate win.
That is why. You must allow me. That is why.
Please.
I've been slaughtered many times on nominations. Not this coming one.
All right.
Niko nayo.
Point made.
Is it a threat or a promise?
A promise.
Waheshimiwa, asanteni sana. Honorable Kaboko Wamalwa, Kalwale, and of course Kajwang. Asanteni sana. It was very. It flies when you're having a good show.
Oh my goodness.
When you're having a good future.
We just discussed ODM.
We discussed a few things.
I mean, it's a party.
You have helped Raila to remain on the minds of voters. That was terrible of you. We're waiting for you to say
but that was the subject matter.
That was part of the subject matter.
That was okay.
Thank you very much for being with us, and thank you to our viewers on behalf of the entire team that made the show possible. We are grateful to always have your company with us. Mulale salama na Mungu awabariki. Asanteni.